Today, actually, the New England Journal of Medicine published a case study today detailing a groundbreaking approach that deals with pediatric heart transplants here in the United States. And actually, Duke Health has pioneered the world's first technique that could expand the donor pool up to 20%. So this is huge news today. And we have one of the leading people in this area, one of the leading surgeons, I should say, Joseph W. Turek from Duke, who's done so much research, not only on this, but so many other things, not only on pediatrics, but cardiology as a whole. So it's great to have you, Doctor. Thank you so much for your time. Let's just start really general here. What does this mean for transplant patients and really for cardiology as a whole going forward for the future?
Well, one of the biggest problems we have in the heart transplant world is too few donors for these hearts. And this technique is used for specific types of donors. So there's donors who are donating after they've had a cardiac death, and that's for these patients as opposed to those who've had brain death. When they have a cardiac death and their heart is stopped, and we want to see if they would be a good donor, we need to be able to restart that heart in some way. And that's really what this innovation does. For the first time, it gives us an opportunity outside the body, bypassing a lot of the ethical issues that we have if we were to restart the heart in the body of the donor. We're able to do this for some of our smallest, really most vulnerable patients who need heart transplants.
What does the wait list currently look like? I know that that's a huge part of this, is making sure that you expand the donor pool, but obviously getting people off that wait list as quickly as possible, especially for those people who are needing just an emergency situation. So what does that look like for folks kind of wondering about the wait list?
It's pretty sobering, and it's especially that way for infants who need heart transplants.
Okay.
So we have about 700 pediatric patients who end up on the wait list in the United States every year. But those infants in particular, the kids less than a year old who oftentimes have different types of congenital heart disease that need transplants, unfortunately, a third of those patients will die on the wait list waiting for a heart. So this is life-saving, being able to open up this opportunity of more available donor hearts.
Got to talk about some of the work that you guys do behind the scenes on things like this. You're always researching, different techniques, different, objectives to try and help people live longer, right? And live a healthier life. That's really the objective here. I've seen you quoted so many different times on so many different, journals. So for you, how did this research come to its fruition today, and seeing this case study being published, and really what does it mean for folks who are living and seeing this day to day? What does it mean for them? It seems like they have, I guess, renewed hope, you could say.
I think so. I mean, this idea was born out of necessity.
Okay.
What we were seeing is we had a lot of patients who needed heart transplants, and we just saw them waiting. And there's some real ethical concerns, like I said, with this certain type of reanimating or reviving or reassessing a heart with life support in the chest of the donor. There's a concern that you're going to be reperfusing the brain of the donor. We don't want to do that, and so this technique allows us to do it, take it outside the body, reassess the heart. And, I think that this will ultimately increase the donor pool by about 20% for pediatric heart patients, which is really quite astounding. And so I think you're exactly right. I mean, this is hope is what this provides. And you can imagine how families are who are waiting for months on end for their little baby to get a heart transplant, how that hope is needed.
I can't imagine. I got 4 myself, and as a parent, you would do anything to try and help your child or children to recover. So I can totally understand this brings, new hope to those individuals. Let's talk about this specific transplant procedure to be offered. Where can folks, if they're in this pool, maybe they're hearing this and seeing this across the nation, maybe they're not in North Carolina, what should folks do? Should they talk to their local doctor? What are the first steps, I guess?
I think this is going to catch on. This was the first one. We did one we did one case recently, and that's
Okay.
what this publication is showing proof of concept that it can work.
Right.
But I can tell you that prior to doing this case, we did our homework and we did our research, and we had done this in the laboratory to make sure that this was going to be successful. So I think this is just the tip of the iceberg. I think that this is going to come, and it's gonna rapidly burst onto the scene and be a potential option for these kids. But it's like everything, you need to have adopters and folks that are willing to take a chance. I mean, I think that's the thing you've got to remember is that the families, number one, the donor family really wanted to give. They wanted to donate their heart in their time of tragedy, wanted to give. This would not have been possible without this technique. They wouldn't have been able to donate their child's heart at that point. And then on the recipient end, you've got a family who realizes this had never been done before in a baby or in a human, and they wanted to give their child the best chance, but also to kind of forge the way for kids in the future. So it will be coming onto the scene, and hopefully fairly quickly.
Such a unique and astonishing technique to even try to think about from a person who doesn't have any medical background. I can't imagine where technology has come over the last 10 years even. Can you talk a little bit about that? Because innovation, I think, in technology, and especially in the medical field, has really come so far in the last 10 years. Would you be able to do something like this even 10 years ago?
No, no, and you're exactly right. Everything builds on itself.
Right.
And in this case, this built on the fact that they have technology to do this in adults, but we don't design technologies in general to help out children. And it's because it's a small market. It's not attractive to the bottom line oftentimes for companies who make these devices. And so this had been out there in some ways. This is quite a little bit different, but it had been out there, and the concept's out there in adults. And this is, that success that they've noticed from that has allowed us to realize that we could probably pursue this route for these really small little babies.
Doctor, what else are we missing here? I know this is such a convoluted topic, especially for somebody, like I said, who I've admitted doesn't have much of a medical background. But this is some amazing work. In reading this journal, like I said, it really opens a lot of folks' eyes. And any questions that I missed, or maybe anything that you wanted to answer and tell folks about?
I think the real novelty here is, and the innovation here is that this is really going to help us be the best stewards we can of these precious gifts. And these are truly precious gifts, these donations. When a family makes the unselfish decision to give their child's organs to another child, I think we have a responsibility to try to honor that and do whatever we can to not only honor their wishes, but help the children on the other end.
Well said. Well said. Dr. Turek, you are the chief pediatric cardiac surgery individual there at Duke's. We appreciate your time, your expert analysis, I should say, and appreciate you shedding some light on this new revelation that just happened really today from the Journal of Medicine.
Yeah.
So thanks so much. I appreciate your time.
Thank you. Appreciate you having me.
All right, doctor. Hopefully we'll see you soon. Thanks again.